Now, remember when I said about the semi-finals with 23 people representing 25 countries and how it had been whittled down to 10 people representing 13 countries? Yes? I'm glad, really. That was slightly worrying me there for a second there. So Pádraic Flood is the reason why. Not only did he win the sole multinational competition, Famelab Benelux, which, as the name implies, spans Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, he's also Irish. And since there's nobody else from Ireland in the final, I guess they'll be rooting for him too. So Pádraic is currently finishing his PhD at Wageningen University in the Netherlands. Do love saying that. Looking at how to use plant genetics and natural variation to make various crops easier to grow and tastier. And when he's not doing this at the lab, he's doing his own private field work as he loves eating wild plants whenever and wherever he can find them. So win or lose, you may find him later snacking in the hedgerows and flower beds of Cheltenham, but not until we Benny luxuriate in 3 minutes of Pádraic Flood.
Imagine you were inside a leaf. It's a sunny day, and the cells around you are glowing with the soft green light. You move into one of these cells, and you see that this green glow is coming from melon-shaped objects called chloroplasts. As you look closer, you see tiny antennae harvesting this light and channeling it down to a reaction center. It is at this point that light becomes life. This process is known as photosynthesis, literally building with light. It is the fundament of all life on Earth. The energy I am using to talk to you right now, the air we are breathing, and even the fossil fuels that power our economy all come from photosynthesis. I'm telling you this because our population looks set to reach 9 to 10 billion by 2050. This is a massive increase in the number of people that need to be fed, and it is way beyond our current capacity to produce food. But believe it or not, we have faced such a challenge before. In the 1950s, the world's population reached 2.5 billion. And for many experts, further sustainable growth seemed an impossibility. They predicted massive famines and the collapse of our civilization and referred to it as the population bomb. But thankfully, some scientists did not give up. They had a vision, and collectively they brought about an agricultural transformation like nothing we have ever seen before. They quadrupled yields in a matter of years in what became known as the Green Revolution. The man who spearheaded this was Nobel Prize winner Norman Borlaug, who is credited with saving more lives than any other individual in the history of our species. His work was so incredibly successful that in the developed world we went from potential food shortage to food mountains. But this is no longer the case. The population time bomb has not stopped ticking, and that is where photosynthesis comes in. The scientists of the Green Revolution did an amazing job at increasing crop productivity, but they never managed to improve photosynthesis. In fact, some scientists still say that it can't be done. But already, from my own research, I say otherwise. There is a resource out there, a resource which is the fuel of evolution and which we can tap into. This resource is genetic variation. In the case of photosynthesis, this variation manifests as differences in the efficiency at which plants convert light to life. The genetic basis of these differences can be used to create plants which will feed and fuel our future. We must increase the productivity of our crops so that we can buy the world time to reach a point of population stability. In the words of Norman Borlaug, you can't build a peaceful world on empty stomachs and human misery. We need a second green revolution, and photosynthesis is one key which cannot be left unturned.
Okay. You mentioned that photosynthesis is a process where genetic modification could help enhance, improve efficiency.
It's not just genetic modification. So I'm talking about natural genetic variation. So in all species, including humans, there is variation. That's why we look different. And you can use this variation to alter traits. You can breed for it. So it's not just GMOs, it's also natural breeding. GMOs is also an avenue, but we should use everything we've got. And I'm looking at natural variation, which is present in species, trying to find what it is, the genetic basis for these differences we see, and then to use this, hopefully, to increase photosynthetic outputs.
Isn't photosynthesis already a very efficient biological process? How can we improve any further on nature?
Yeah, well, I like that question. So lots of people, lots of scientists actually say you can't do this because there's been, 2-3 billion years of evolution optimizing this process. We surely can't improve that. But that's not true. Okay? Agricultural systems are very different from natural systems. In natural systems, things compete. So their main goal is to produce offspring. But in agriculture, our main goal is that they produce food. So we can actually make plants more cooperative. Also, they're living in very stressful conditions. So it's kind of like a Ferrari. Ferrari is going to run very well, but it's not going to do well off-road. So sometimes you need to compromise on speed so that you can do well in more rough environments, like a Jeep, for example. It's the same with photosynthesis. Plants that live in the wild, for example, they need to be able to deal with multiple environments. But if we control the environment, like in an agricultural context, we can make them go much faster without the negative side effects they would have in nature.
I've got one very quick question. I need a quick
Have to leave it there for the half Jeep, half Ferrari, Pádraic Flood.